Hi, my name is Mike. Welcome to my vlog about football in general and Burnley FC in particular, a vlog that has suddenly realised that recording on bonfire night is perhaps not the smartest of ideas. We are record breakers. If you got used to the idea of Burnley breaking all kinds of records last season, boy have I got great news for you, as we have broken yet another record this season. Yep, the first team to lose 6 consecutive Premier League fixtures at home. We should be calling Norris McWhirter, but he's been dead for 2 decades. But that writes us into the history books. The Everton game first, I'll go there first. It was predictable, a predictable defeat, but football is predictable most of the time. Usually the result is predictable, but this one we knew exactly how we were going to lose it. We knew that McNeil was going to cross it to Tarkowski. We knew that we were going to lose the physical battle because our main central defenders seemed to be surprised to be playing a contact sport. The game was played how it was, a bunch of young, promising players who were used to being the most talented in their peer group, coming up against a physical side in a good way, who have way too much experience and street smarts for them. And I have to say I was completely impressed with the moronic aspect of some of the away fans for booing Dwight McNeil for nothing at all whatsoever. They booed him, and when he crossed for Tarkowski, he absolutely gave it them back. And boy, did he deserve to be able to give it to them back. These are a bunch of people who are booing McNeil and applauding Tarkowski. Except Tarkowski was the one who was once worth 40 million quid. And we could have sold him for 20, but he decided to run his contract down, so we got no money. He had to leave on a free. Whereas McNeil, who has come through the youth system, had no goals, no assists, and we still managed to sell him for 20 million. Yet they're booing McNeil and applauding Tarkowski. These are not the smartest people, are they? And then we move on to the game yesterday against Palace. What can you say? Kicked in the teeth by the footballing gods, I think, is my review of that. The atmosphere was much, much better. The much talked about atmosphere. You could tell the match day kind of presentation had changed slightly. To be honest, the fans had, reacted well, I thought, on all 4 sides of the ground. I thought the players were up for it from the first whistle. And then, we had a great first 20 minutes. We were absolutely on top in making a bang average Palace side look, well, bang average. Roy Hodgson is a pragmatic manager at the best of times. It's clear that he'd basically come for the draw. Palace have trouble scoring this season. So what do? We basically score 2 for them. Bayer made the mistake. He was pressed off the ball by Ayew. Falls over. That's it. We're 1-0 down. The crowd didn't really deflate at that time. But you kind of got the feeling it was like, oh God, what do we have to do? What do we have to do to catch a break this season? I don't like the fact that Bayer actually posted an apology on his Instagram. I don't think players should be doing that. They're taking the blame. I know people see it as, oh, he fronted up, he took the blame, blah, 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 blah. It's a team sport. Players win as a team, you lose as a team. We had another 70 minutes as well to score. So, it wasn't the only reason we lost or anything like that. And I don't think players should be doing that. It really kind of, I think it came from the heart. Sometimes it feels a bit performative. I think that one came from the heart. He definitely looks, upset, whatever. But it's football, kind of. That's the way it goes. No one's ascribing the defeat solely to him or his performance. He played really, really well. And then the second goal, people are criticising O'Shea. So basically their argument is at 1-0 down, he should have hoofed it out of play. Okay? He played the high risk, high reward moment. He lost out because Premier League players are not just Premier League players because they are skillful, but because they anticipate moments like that through experience. And experience is the difference. That is the difference between where this Burnley team is and where this Burnley team want to be. Unfortunately, experience is not something that can be, bought or trained or anything like that. It has to happen. And we're in a situation where it feels like most teams that are struggling against relegation, where everything that can go wrong will go wrong. To throw the cliche on his head, this team is finding new and different ways to lose. And there was a guy who was around for a while who often said that the Premier League was about small margins. And he managed to get his team to figure out how to be on the right side of those small margins. And hopefully this team and this manager will figure out the same thing. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about recording this vlog last night, but then I realised that the subject matter is basically bad takes on social media. And I thought, wow, there's a case of pot calling the kettle black if I rush and get this thing up on a Saturday night after a match. But having, had a day about it, I've always I've come to realise over the past couple of years, I've been online for well over 3 decades now. I've seen, forums come and go. I built and run a couple of them myself. So I'm used to the concept of online interaction and social media. And I've come to realise that over the last couple of years, the idea of social media, especially things like Twitter, is a bad trip. It's a bad thing all round. And that's before an anti-Semitic racist bought Twitter because he was high that day. There is a roundabout near where I live, and every so often a bunch of idiots stand on it waving placards about the COVID vaccine being a government conspiracy, about 15-minute cities and digital cash controlling your freedoms, whatever the latest tinfoil conspiracy theory is. And I remember thinking the last time I drove past it that I am so sick of hearing the opinions of stupid people. And 280 characters can be typed faster than most people think, or at least take the time to think. And the thing about social media, especially Twitter, is that negativity breeds engagement. It breeds clicks, so it becomes a matter of who can scream the loudest and offer the most basic and simple solutions. And simple solutions to complex problems are attractive. I mean, look around you. We've had politicians offering simple solutions to big problems for a decade. Have things got any better? Before I get too far on the idea of taking simple solutions to a country and simple solutions for football, let's have a look at some of those simple solutions that are currently being offered. The first and most obvious is people saying companies should be sacked. We should change the manager. So the current call is to sack a manager whose managerial career at Burnley and record is win 30, draw 15, lost 12. I will say that again. People are calling for the sacking of a manager who has lost 12 games out of 57. And to put that in perspective, Sean Dyche lasted 2 seasons winning 14 out of 68. The idea that Vincent Kompany should be sacked is ridiculous. It is knee-jerk. It is people just going, oh, well, that will fix all the problems, just simply changing the manager. The manager is not struggling. The team is struggling. It isn't a tactical thing. You could have Pep Guardiola possessed by the spirit of Sir Bobby Robson and Sir Alf Ramsey. But that's not going to stop your central defender falling over after giving the ball away. That isn't going to stop your fullbacks being knocked off the ball far too easily. It isn't going to stop dumb back passes and dumb giveaways in the centre of midfield. Changing the manager is just this kind of knee-jerk thing where people are not thinking it through. The club have invested in a 5-year contract for Vincent Kompany that would have to be paid up. That's 15 to 20 million quid, including his staff. What? Why? Have people forgotten what happened last year? Oh yeah, it was the championship. It doesn't matter if we won 100 points. It doesn't matter that we won the league at Ewood. What have you done for me lately, Vincent? God, it sounds so spoiled and so childish. People say he's made too many changes from last year's successful team. Okay, let's go back to last year's team. Well, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Ian Masson, Nathan Tellett, no longer here. 2 of the main players, Bayer and Benson, have been injured for a large part of the season. Connor Roberts is 2 yellow cards in waiting. Muric played against Everton and shipped 3 goals, but well, we had a better outball. Okay, let's bring back Cork and Zaruri, and they're going to replace Sander Berger and Luca Koleosho, who have been 2 of our best players so far. So, going back to last year's team, how exactly does that improve it? And speaking of Trafford and Muric, Trafford is not the problem in the same way that Muric is not the solution. But yeah, recruitment has gone awry. Absolutely agree there. We have far too many wingers. Our wingers are full of potential and not much actuality. I watched Mike Trezor. He's exactly what Manuel Benson was at exactly this time last year. Full of tricks, full of skill, full of potential, full of everything you can see, yet he's knocked off the ball far too easily. It takes time. He needs to be kicked. If he needs the Benson treatment, and get kicked too much in training. But ultimately, like I say, these are simple solutions to complex problems. You can't change the recruitment. The transfer window is closed. We're already seeing, by the way, people going on Twitter and sort of like, oh, we should buy this player, we should buy that player, as if, it's like going down to Tesco's and just walking down the correct aisle marked central midfielder or attacking left back. But ultimately, the fans, you, me, whatever, need to stop winding each other up on Twitter and all of the social media. It's not healthy for a fan base or us as people. And it's not just idiots, because smart people are at it as well. I read some of the hashtags, I read some of the social media stuff, and I see words like sacking and disgrace and delusional. Part of my job involves words. I used to be on stage, I still speak in public. And I learned fast that my words have power. The way people say things are important, professionally and personally. That is why any good journalist, or anyone who wants to be a good journalist, takes care to choose their words carefully. And disgrace and delusional are not words that serious people use to describe football. Football is the most important, least important thing in the world. And besides, if Saturday's performance was a disgrace, then where does that let you go next week? Because any good stand-up comedian will tell you that the first swear word you say on stage is never the four-letter one beginning with C, because that leaves you nowhere else to go. And I'm tired of people using words badly on social media, of not thinking, of typing and just hitting the word send because you sound stupid, you sound aggressive, you sound entitled, you sound like a spoiled brat. There are a million ways that you sound, and smart and knowing what you're talking about is not one of them. So here are two words, and they are two words that fans don't like hearing. They're two words that don't seem to apply to coverage or discussion about football, especially in modern times. They're certainly not acceptable in the hypersensitive world of Twitter hashtags and forums and Facebook. And those two words are time and patience. They are the two words that will solve the problems that this team and this manager have at the moment. They are certainly not welcome and not acceptable for some people, but it's the only way. The team has to get experience. The team has to get better. The team has to build confidence, and you can't fix that on the training pitch. There was something in the Mission to Burnley documentary that kind of annoyed me a little bit, and it's not because of it was in the documentary, it's because I hear it a lot. If it's not working, work harder. No, you can work all the hours, you can work as hard as possible, but again, it's not going to stop the ball bouncing off a defender's knee and over the goalkeeper's head. It's not going to stop someone giving the ball away at the worst possible time. We're already seeing people saying we're relegated. We've had 11 games. There's 27 to go. And people are always acting, or already acting, as if relegation is a certainty. I mean, get over yourselves. I mean, look in the mirror. Really? Is that where you are? Right, in that case, just don't go to any games for the rest of the season, because you know what's going to happen. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Because if we go down, so what? No one's died. The club will survive. The team is more than good enough to get itself back up. Vincent Kompany presumably will want to right a wrong. I don't think Alan Pace is going to want to sack him. And we can look forward to a championship season like we had last year. But where did this sense of entitlement come from? Where did this idea that we should be 12th or 11th in the Premier League, where did this idea that we should be beating Aston Villa, who are currently one of the best teams in the country, where we should be beating Chelsea, who've spent £1 billion, where did this come from? We're not Leeds fans, for God's sake. So basically, I'm going to be one of those people who's going to be boringly sensible, who's going to not rant and rave at a camera just because it gets the clicks. I know I could go on to record something and, F and Jeff, and I can swear like you wouldn't believe. But it's not going to get anywhere apart from raising my blood pressure. It's just going to contribute to the general shouting and stupidity that is Burnley online media at the moment. And you can't legislate for stupid people. You can't legislate for the 15-minute City conspiracy theory people. All you can do is just hand them a roll of tinfoil and just let them get at it. We're smarter than that. Most people are smarter than that. But you're reading social media and you're just going, come on, are you doing this for a wind-up? Because you're better than that. You know, we're better than that. We're better than that as a fan base. We're providing entertainment not for each other. We're providing entertainment for fans of other clubs. That where we want to be? Is that what we want to be doing? Because the first half yesterday certainly showed that the support is still there. So these people who are relentlessly negative, these people who were booing players who gave their all for us, not just yesterday, not just are giving them their all now, but players who have left and moved on to bigger clubs who gave their all for Burnley Football Club, you're booing them. Why? You're better than that, aren't you? Or is that where we are? If you're booing those players and you're saying we're relegated and you're booing, you're not supporting the team, you're not contributing to an atmosphere that you think is rubbish already, but you're doing nothing to think about to fix it, why are you bothering? There's a world out there. Go see it. If you've got any comments about this video, please feel free to leave them down below and I will respond where I can. If you liked it, click the like button. And if you like what I do, have a look around the rest of the channel and click subscribe to be notified when I produce new content.